Europeans gained more control over Native Americans, the Spanish started killing Native Americans with diseases.
Great. Let's stop there.
Okay.
I have enough to pull trends.
Mm-hmm.
What are the trends that you're seeing right now?
The trends that we're seeing is one, so there are two, right? In terms of ideas and in terms of writing skill.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of ideas, it's that kids are not yet making the connection between or not like drawing out the effects clearly. They're just summarizing which is probably based on time because they had 5 minutes to write it. So they need more time to revise and add on. And then in terms of writing skill, so some of them are summarizing clearly what like the three main explorers were, and some of them are just all over the place.
Great. Let's take writing skill around paraphrasing and synthesizing and place it to the side in the interest of like where we need portfolios to go and go after ideas.
Okay.
What can we do to like ensure that within the bucket, like the buckets, like kids that didn't understand at all what colonization was, but then other kids that haven't been able to fully articulate the effects have a chance to synthesize that? Yeah.
So today, I actually think we did a lot of that today, because today after the do now I had them reread the prompt, and then I asked what is colonization. Great. And then we wrote the definition over the word colonization and said a more powerful group is taking control over a less powerful group. And then we talked about the do now question was also like who was more superior. And then they drew out that evidence of like European blood was more respected. So then we talked about, is there something like inherent in the European blood that made those people superior? And we drew the conclusion that it wasn't. It was just that they had more weapons and overthrew the people that were already there. And so then when we went into the reading for white privilege, we kind of drew the connection again about superiority, like an inferiority, so to speak, and then how they're connected to that.
I think right now that's a strong start in terms of questioning. I think we may need a visual here. It's clear to me that there's like dots in the student writing that need to be connected visually, but in terms of helping kids make the intellectual leaps between effects, which like within this prompt, but then also which translated into the discussion today. And so I was thinking about like just helping them with the idea of legacy through creating some kind of a timeline. So this served as like a jump off with ideas, but we didn't even get to the conversation that started in class like today around gentrification and like the legacies of like white privilege there, and there's just a lot. So I was thinking one way to potentially address this is through clearly doing your line of questioning but drawing out like intermittent like steps in the historical causation process, where it's basically just like colonization happened, like what was the like racial and social hierarchy that was created, what is everything that you know about that, okay, what is like the next time period that we've studied at this time, okay, we just studied the massive jump forward, but like let's connect what they already know, the Jim Crow South, like years and years and years later, but like what was the social hierarchy, how is it racialized, what do you know, how did like this racial minority group, but like racially oppressed group, like address the legacies of colonialism, and what, like, was it successful or not? Great. Fast forward 2016, y'all. Is there a racial hierarchy? Debate. How is this, like, in what ways is this racial hierarchy expressed? Make quick notes. And then, like, how is this, like, how is our community responding to that racial hierarchy right now? I think we need to draw this explicitly across and have a timeline that's like operating as like connecting this idea from colonialism to like something in between to like where we are right now as a community.
Should that happen? So tomorrow they're going to be reading the do now always connects to the ideas from the day before. So the do now tomorrow is going to connect to the idea of white privilege.
Yep.
And then through questioning, I can draw out again to have someone verbalize how white privilege is a legacy or a remnant of colonialism.
Great.
And then they're going to read about the like activism that has happened to fight against white privilege.
Perfect.
And then maybe next week, before we start working on the essay outline, this happens.
Agreed. Yeah, I hear you saying like two things. One, you're going to immediately start questioning that pulls out like the effects of colonialism so that connections are made to current day. And then two, address plans for next week so that there's a time to actually draw that visual out.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's good, right?
Yeah.
Great.
I mean, the other thing that I also kind of noticed